YouTube man, Tycander sir, coming back at you with another action figure review. Now, it's been a little while since I've posted a video. Well, not too long, but it's usually I try and keep it to a week. But unfortunately, because of the heat wave over here and where I record stuff, it's like a sauna. So I didn't really get a chance to get motivated to actually do anything, just melting from the heat wave over here at the moment. So, like a lot of people. So I'm getting into getting a few reviews done. This is something I picked up from Amazon, but they are now actually available on the Smiths website. So I'll throw a link to the Smiths version in the description. And what this is it's finally the Mattel DC Core line. Now, you may be forgiven that this is a Batman line, but it's actually supposed to be a DC line overall. So the main villain we have here, which is one of Batman's villains, which is the Joker. You can see the box has been ripped open already, so I'll try and keep the box brief, and we'll get into the figure. So the box itself has nothing really on the back. It's a blister style card box with a plastic tray that holds the figure. You have the Joker doing a pose on the top for it's a Series 1. And in Series 1 you have Joker, Batman, Robin, and The Flash. Hence why it is a DC line. I just have to get Joker to prop this up. It wants to flop forward. Now, as I said, I did get this from Amazon. They are available from Smiths. They seem to have everyone bar the Flash on the Smiths website, which is kind of weird, but it is what it is. But you could be mistaken that this is as I said, a Batman line, because all the multi-pack figure sets so far have all been Batman villains. So there's a set with Mr. Freeze, there's a set with Man-Bat, there's a set with Clayface, and there's a set with Bane. Now, the Man-Bat figure set hasn't been seen on shelves yet, and there's some speculation as to whether it is actually a 12-inch set or a 6-inch set, which is what these are. Everything else has been a 6-inch, so the Clayface, Bane, and who was the other one I said? Mr. Freeze. They're all in the I think it's a 6.5 or 6-inch line, but it is what it is. So we're going to pause here. We'll bring out the figure. We'll get a couple of shots of the figure, and we'll see how we go from there. So here is a look at the figure outside of packaging. Now, he does come with one of those weapon trays, which I haven't fully pulled everything off. I just pulled a couple of pieces off it, and he does come with a few interesting accessories. But before we get into those, we will have a look at his height. So he does stand reasonably well, but we'll bring in the old tape measure. So for his height, he does stand about over that 6-inch, like 6.5 as the line is saying. It is interesting to see the figure. He is a tall character. I do believe he might be taller than the Robin figure, but we will have a look at that later. We'll have a look at his accessories. So he comes with this bazooka launcher thing, which comes with, it fires one missile, but it has storage for one as well. The bottom one isn't an actual spring-loaded missile, it's only the top. So you have a spring-loaded missile at the top. You also get 4 of these missiles, which come on that tray. And what's interesting, on the back of the missile there is a notch, which looks like it plugs into something, which is similar to the notch that's on these weird disc mine looking things. So I believe they store on the Batman weapon trees, at least from what I've seen, it looks like it stores on those. But it could be that they intend to release something later down the line that incorporates these in this particular color. You also have this weird kind of Joker style axe with the kind of clown prince smiling face thing. It's hollow on the back, but again you have those holes things, or the indents for a square peg of some kind, or rectangular peg. And then the other unique item that comes with this guy is you get these heads. You get 3 heads in total. They're not full heads, they're just a cover mask. So you have one for the Flash. Basically, you have one for every wave or figure in this wave series 1. You have one for Robin, and you have one for Batman. Now, because I don't have either Batman or Flash yet, they are winging their way to me. I do have the Robin figure, and I can just show you quickly how it goes. It just basically, you just have to be wary of his hair, because I'll do a close-up of it, but it does just go up over his face, and you can see his normal skin tone behind it. It's like a cover mask. It's supposed to be kind of like a Jokerized version of them, which is interesting because in wave 3 or wave 2, there's actually a Jokerized version Batman, which is Joker in an actual Batman costume, which is kind of interesting. So we'll run down the articulation and have a look at that. So for articulation, we will start out the head. Head is on the ball joint. You get a good range of movement on the head. You can do a full 360 on it if you want. Arms can T-pose that much. They can rotate up this much. They have a single joint elbow with a swivel. Wrist with a hinge. The legs can split fully that much. He can kick forward. It is kind of a ratchet joint on the kick motion. There is waist swivel, which is hidden by his waistcoat and tail, or top hat and tails as they would be called, or his shirt or suit top. This suit top is actually a separate piece, but it's glued in place. So is this, I'm not sure what to call it. It wouldn't be a tie. It doesn't look like a standard tie. And it's not a bow tie either. It's kind of a sort of lapel of some kind, I suppose. As I said, he does kick forward. He can kick like that with his knee. There is thigh swivel, so he has that. And even though they're really hindered, there is actually just a swivel on the boot, or on the shoe, I should say, and there is 2 peg holes on the bottom of that feet. Now, one of the gimmicks with this, and we'll get into it in a second, is it's supposed to connect to the Batmobile. So what we'll do is, I'm going to pause here, we'll drag in the Batmobile. So here is the Batmobile from this particular line. As you can see, it's just really just the front of it because it's quite large to fit in frame. But I want to kind of do a close-up of this. So there is a peg on this, and I believe the way it shows it connected on is just in here. I thought it goes on the center, but it doesn't. It just goes into this peg hole on the front, which is kind of weird. I thought, because there's a connector piece on it, on that as well. So anywhere where you have those connector ports, it has an actual peg hole, so you can actually connect it. Can you connect it in there? Probably could. You can connect it. You might be able to connect it here on the roof because of that hole, which you can. So you can connect it to the roof port, and more than likely you can connect it on those tail fins as well when you have them in the kind of default position. You can kind of slide it up. Looks a bit weird, but if you have it that way, you can fire it off that way. Again, as I thought originally, I thought it connected into the centerpiece. Again, because there's kind of octagonal connector ports here, so there must be something coming down the line that this fits into. Can it fit on the Robin cycle? I would imagine so, if you want to mount it backwards or mount it behind. You can't really get a figure on it when like that. Might be able to mount it down here though. There's double ports here. You can connect it. I'm not sure if you can see it there. You can connect it to the bottom of it. So there is some ports on the, even on the bike, the Robin cycle, that you can connect this thing to, which is interesting enough to say the least. And because it's crazy and you can do it, I know I'm doing this off screen, you can actually connect it to this weird wing thing that comes on the Batmobile. So you can have a double launcher if you want. I suppose you could fold this thing all the way forward and have it like if you had another launching thing that connects to, you can fit that on. So it is multi-purposeable, I suppose, if that's even a word. It has dual purpose, multi-purpose connection ports, if you want, and it'll look silly because there's a hole on that. You can actually point it upwards and make it look ridiculous, or you can probably point it that way if you want to kind of have a weird side angle launching system thing. But other than that, it is what it is, and it does what it does on the tin. So we'll move quickly aside to other stuff you can do with this cool figure. So I'm going to pause here and bring stuff back in, and we'll go from there. So moving back to the figure itself, I just want to bring in one Batman figure that I have to see if the mask actually fits, because this is one of the older ones. So will the mask fit on it? Doubt it. No, it doesn't, because it does. The ear cowls don't give the headway for it to actually fit on it, because I'm assuming they're designed specifically for the new figure. But this is an old Mattel one, and let's do vice versa for an old version of Robin, since I have him handy as well, just for the laugh. The Robin one kind of fits, so you can kind of fit it on one of the old Mattel Missions figure, or Batman Missions figures, but they are intended for use with these new ones. So if you want a Jokerized Robin, you can get him to do that, which is pretty cool. One thing that is, oh yeah, and I'll show you the, you can have him hold the weapons pretty well. I have one of these put aside for a reason, and I'm going to chuck this aside. He doesn't really hold other weapons. I mean, they're missiles for his missile thing. He does hold this thing as well. Actually, I should point that out. It's weird though, because he has a trigger. There's a big trigger guard, but he doesn't actually have a trigger finger. You can kind of get him to hold it dual-handed. It's awkward, and it makes him very top heavy when you have it in his hands. If I can get him to hold it and stand, I don't think I can actually. He just wants to flop forward with it. Just barely get him into a standing pose. Even leaning him back on his knees. There we go. Just barely get him to stand with that thing. It is a cool accessory. It looks really cool, but it needs support. It's not something you can be able to display him with really without him just flopping forward the whole time, unless you have a display base. Now, as I said, he does have peg holes on the bottom of his feet, but he does not come with an actual stand. One thing I have found, which is kind of cool, and I have a couple of them lying around, some of the old, I believe is it Jazzwares? This is one of the Fortnite weapons. He can actually hold this kind of reasonably cool MP90? I think it's MP90. The kind of guns that they had for Stargate. It looks like one of those. But there's a couple of different weapons from the whatchamacallit line, the Fortnite figure line. I believe it's Jazzwares, or it is no, it wasn't Spin Masters. Pretty sure it's Jazzwares, or it could have been Jack's Pacific, was it Pacific? I think it was either one of those companies did those. They're not the ones from the Hasbro line, because the Hasbro line actually have trigger guards on most of their weapons, so it's the other one. It's like when they did the taller versions of the 4-inch figures, but you can hold that. So, one other thing, well actually two other things I want to bring in, because I have an older version of her. She looks a little dinky next to him, but we have a Harley Quinn figure from the older Mattel Batman Missions lines. Hopefully he looks reasonably sized. I mean, given that it was a kind of slightly small 6-inch line, she kind of get away with it. For other 6-inch figures, bring in the old what's his name from not Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., but the this is that Nick Fury series. Was it Ben Mendelsohn character, which I can't remember. You can just see the height. So Joker stands a tiny bit taller than him, not by much, but maybe a head height, or not even a full head height, just a quarter of an inch height, because he is generally depicted as a tall individual. I have my battle armor Cobra Commander, so I can bring him in, so you can see height. And then, as I said, I have that old Batman from the Batman Missions line. He's actually one of the ones that has a whole bunch of armor supposed to be on him. He is kind of short, so he will look pretty short next to Joker. Unfortunately, he even looks short next to the Robin figure, so there's kind of a slight scale discrepancy between the two lines. But that said, and this is a good segue, there was a dedicated Joker vehicle from that Batman Missions line. That Batman Missions line, and I'm pretty sure I reviewed this thing, is this. It was a 2-pack, I believe, who came with Batman, Joker, and his vehicle. So it was like a 2-figure pack and vehicle set. You can actually get this version Joker to sit on this thing. But before I do that, there is a reason I took that missile aside. I know I'm probably blocking things with my hand. So this is the missile launcher that came with this set. It's a fairly big, chunky missile with a radioactive symbol on it. You can see that. Hopefully you can see that. It has a big radioactive symbol on it. It has a launcher. Here's something interesting. So if you have these are the exact same missile designed. Now I'll try and do a close-up of these. I know I'm just kind of showing it here, but I'll try and do an actual proper close-up. But they have the exact same sculpt, I suppose you would call it, for the actual launcher. So if you have these green missiles, they will fit with this thing. They're slightly darker green. They're not as neon as these ones, but it will fit, which is kind of an interesting thing. So if you wanted this helicopter thing to have like fairly smaller missiles, you could actually kit it out with the smaller missiles that come with this. In fact, if I take out of the wing piece at the back, they actually store at the back as well. So it should just slide straight in, and you have storage for them too, which is pretty cool. Now, as I said, I'm just take this off for ease. You can get this Joker to fit on this. It's a bit of a squeeze, it's a bit of a, because of the thing on his back, on that lapel on his, or not lapel, the tail on his suit. You kind of have to finagle him just enough, but he will sit on it. Oop. You have to kind of squish him down a bit, and you have to kind of splay his legs out just enough that his head avoids the rotor blades, because the last thing you want to do is have a decapitated Joker, but because he has a bend in the knees, you can get him to sit in this thing, and you can see the actual blade will not hit his head. It is a little bit of a crappy design, because if I do this now, alright, it's not doing it. But what I was doing earlier was it was smacking off the missile launcher at the front. Now you can hear it hopping off it there. I suppose you have to hit it hard enough. Oh yeah, there. The minute you move it, it smacks off it. But you have a cool, nifty vehicle for a Joker to ride if you have this thing. And as I said, he does fit it. I wouldn't have him stored on it, because the material the tail, the suit tail is made out of, would probably end up warping and be stuck in that kind of bent, kind of curved position. But for something, if you're doing a couple of diorama shots or something like that, or a cool action thing where his Joker's getting away with his little vehicle, it is pretty cool. I could see them repurposing this vehicle and re-releasing it for this line, and maybe a slightly, because the purple from this Joker is actually darker than the purple on the vehicle. They might do it as a darker purple with the darker green, and just reissue it and maybe retool it slightly so he fits a little bit better on it. But I could see them reusing this thing altogether. So there you go, guys. Hopefully this isn't a big long-winded video for you to watch and you enjoyed it all the way to the end. I'm just going to throw everything back in here for the moment, and I will get her to review Batman and the Flash, or not the Flash, Batman and Robin, the single carded version of Robin soon enough. So it will be interesting to see how they stack up next to this guy. So all in all, I'm pretty pleased with this Joker. He is a great sculpt. Please hit the like button. The more likes I get, the more interactions I get with this video, the more it gets out there to people that might enjoy it. So the more likes I get, the more thumbs up I get. Thanks for hitting them. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. You'll see all the videos I have, and any of the ones that are upcoming, you'll get notified if you are subscribed. And leave a comment if you want to leave a comment. So cheers, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video from wherever you're watching it in the world. And again, thanks for watching.